I uncovered something out of this world, literally. And I'm connecting to people who are ready and willing to receive something profound. This is a gift from heaven. And I was following a spiritual war. I saw beautiful ones, is what I was calling them, a group of us that we were separated from the Garden of Eden. And the Garden of Eden was before time, right? Because we've been trapped in this illusion where these serpents have been deceiving humanity, and our ancestors called it a serpent, and we in this modern time call it a reptilian. In this video will just be some context while I shuffle some cards, get some more information as to what you need to know. I want you to trust God, because things are getting very confusing, very convoluted, and the spirit of fear does not come from the Creator that loves you and wants you to strive and thrive in life. It comes from a being that would like your frequency to be so low. You'll be so dumbed down and fattened up to be handed over like cattle to something. I'm going to help you strengthen your armor, your God power, if you will, and help you remember suppressed memories. Your brain was trained to follow the line, follow the order, and the order is the cult. And the cult is not good because it gets you to sign over your soul. It's a contract you sign to the dark side. And I'm going to help you remember the light. That's what I'm here for. So please watch this video. We have so much to talk about. There's a new earth coming. There's a battle ahead of us. Miraculous things are going to happen, and you do have to make a decision. This is intense, and I'll get into some more information after this video. Please check it out.
So my day starts whenever I'm out in the woods and I'm hunting. My day starts probably about 3 o'clock in the morning. Usually hunting season's cold anyway. I'm not going to give my location. That being said, whenever I go hunting, I get up about 3. I try to get out here to the woods about 3:30, 4 o'clock, set up. I got my stands, everything ready. I have my cameras, obviously my guns, my ammo. Everything felt normal for the first few hours, and just when I say time froze, it froze. I know, like I said, I know these woods very well. I know everything around me. I know my surroundings, let's say like that. It was quiet, and all of a sudden in my scopes I see this buck run past me, and this thing was hauling butt, should I say. Next thing you know, I'm thinking in my head, is this a bear? What's going on? I'm looking everywhere, and it's right in front of me. I see this humongous 7-foot creature that looks like a lizard man. I've never seen anything like this in my life. Thank God I was not in my hunting stand. I was boots on the ground in a bush, because I got up and I ran. I darted as fast as I could to get to this, to see what the hell this is, because like I said, I know these woods and I've never seen this in my entire life. I catch up to this. I'm looking everywhere, and the only thing I see in front of me is your average human. It was so awkward. It felt like this thing got away from me. Like, did this guy not see it as well? Like, there's no way. They only have one direction to go. You can't go uphill after that. That's the only option you have, is to go uphill when you couldn't have made it that far. The only thing beside me is a casual human being. I know for a fact I was the only person out there that entire day by myself. Like I said, who's going to wake up 3:30 and get out here in the woods 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, right? There's no way this guy was in here. The only thing that I could think of to myself was, did this thing get away? Where did this guy come from? There's no way he could have came down there without me hearing him come down a hill, full of leaves, by the way. It's just me and this guy, and I've never seen this guy in my life. That's when I had to get home and do a little research. I know what I've seen. I know I'm not crazy. I'm Googling everything I can, and I'm coming up with solutions now. Now I'm seeing about these lizard people that work they're over the government. So this has always been around. They are shape-shifting lizard people. And I can't believe my eyes. I cannot believe what I'm reading. And it doesn't make sense, but I know this happened. I know for a fact this happened to me. Because that entire time when I read this, it blows my mind to think that guy I had a conversation with that didn't go anywhere and we went separate ways. He's exactly what I just seen. That's why I'm talking to you guys right now. I'm not afraid of walking up, seeing a snake, seeing a bear, being technically stuck in a corner. I'm more afraid now of the unseen and the unknown. I'm terrified of that. And that's what's scaring me to the point that I don't want to go out here. I feel less of a man and less of a provider now, because if I try to explain this to anyone, they're going to think I'm a liar and I'm crazy.
In 2017, when I started learning and starting digging into this information, Telegram has uncensored information. A lot of talking just about information, but a lot of it is videos and pictures, photographs. I also started looking up on Wikipedia and just Googling about the beginning of time, about the beginning of the Catholic Church. The beginning of the Catholic Church, it wasn't right after Christ. It wasn't Catholic. It started with Christ's disciples and, them spreading the word of God. The Catholic Church, what I found, and you can Google this, is that there was a priest in the beginning wanted to gear their devil worshippers. They worship Satan. They worship Baal, Moloch. There are many different names for Satan. Basement of the Vatican, there are scrolls and scrolls and scrolls in many different places, not just the Vatican. And I think this is one of the reasons why Notre Dame burned, because they have scrolls and scrolls of information from the beginning of time. The truth. Today's Bible, or the King James Version, whatever version you have, does not have all the information. They're hiding things from people so that we would not have, if you think about right after Christ, we didn't have a Bible. We only got our information from the priest, whatever the preacher would tell us or the priest would tell us. But there were books written by not just the disciples, but a lot of other people as well, like the book of Enoch, the book of Maccabees. These are books that were taken out of the Bible. The reason they were taken out of the Bible is because we would have what we need, the information that we need to fight our enemy, which is evil, the devil. And when you talk about reptilians, they are from the beginning. It was a reptilian, it was a reptile, a serpent that coerced Eve and coerced Adam into taking of the fruit that they were not supposed to, they were asked by God not to take from. It was a reptilian.
Humans believe what they see. But just because we don't see it, does it make it any less possible? I mean, these things are said to shapeshift, manipulate the government, corporations. Do you honestly believe that for the history of our planet, that everything has just been running through a natural order of things?
So I have some notes, and we have been conditioned to believe things are obviously not what they are, right? Our brains are now confusing AI with reality. And I'm going to break down these cards, but I want you to think. I want you to use your discernment. I have been following a trail for over a decade. The reason it's been so complicated is because I would not surrender to God. I would not surrender to the Most High. I needed proof. I was not raised in a church. I was not raised to believe in God. I was never around church. I was solo dolo atheist girl out here doing my life, trying to make a family, trying to do what we think we should be doing to the best of my ability. And when I had my spiritual awakening, I didn't know what the heck was going on. And I followed breadcrumbs and I went down rabbit holes and I got all this information. My brain had to process all of this stuff. I had to really think about reptilians and what the heck, how could this shape-shifting occur? What is going on? I remember in 2015-16 era, that's when I first started really like watching information about this. Could be like almost what people are really popularizing right now. I was very interested in about, like I said, 10, 11 years ago. Something fascinating that you need to know. Over the last 200 years, people haven't been jailed for magic in name, but mystical thinkers, if I'm saying that right, mystical thinkers have been punished through fraud charges, psychiatric institutionalizations, censorship, cult prosecutions, or laws against fortune telling and spiritual influence. What used to be called witchcraft or hearsay is now labeled delusion, misinformation, or public harm. The pattern is consistent. When mystical or non-conforming thinkers gain cultural influence, systems built on control tend to suppress them. Not because mysticism is inherently dangerous, but because independent meaning-making challenges authority. I have been seeing the new earth form, right? I know that a lot of spiritual people see the new earth as this beautiful thing. It is. And I see the Garden of Eden. I've been following this Garden of Eden, that there's a hole in the earth, Agartha, you know, there's so many lies, and then there's like one real truth. And if I've ever made a prayer in my life, it's been for the truth. I just want to know the truth. That was, if I struggled with God, I was like, I can't believe in a God like that can't even like show me the truth. You know, like there's too much chaos. I couldn't do it. So my stubborn process to get to where I am right now, I was influenced by these beings, what we just saw in that video. And I've dealt with spirits that have deceived and tricked me throughout the years because I was so open to so much. I was like, anything, like I just want to know stuff. I want the wisdom. I wanted to understand before I could connect, you know? The first tarot card that I got here is the Tower, because there's this massive event coming. I don't know when, but I know that I'm speaking on it as if it's going to happen within my lifetime, or in the lifetime in which I can help just put a breadcrumb of information out there for those that it will influence. I don't know when, because I'm not here to tell you what to think. I'm just here to tell you what I've learned through wisdom. And our memories have been erased. We have been captured and our memories erased. That apple, I figured out what that was. I was like, what is this apple? Well, it's a mockery at this point. The apple is now this digital deception thing. We see it everywhere. We now associate it with technology. But in the beginning, it was something else. The fruit, the sweetness, which is funny because I got woman predator with bittersweet, okay? Woman predator with bittersweet. And I'm like thinking about this apple. So the serpent, which I was obsessed with when I was trying to figure out Bible, scripture, God, like what's going on here? What's real, what's fake? This is crazy. I always was like, the serpent beguiled Eve. And I'm thinking, this is thousands of years ago. We change language every 10 years, you know, our kids are saying different things than we say. So what does that mean? Beguiled, you know? And then I looked into that years ago, and I'm like now processing something. I have this in front of me. What is this? This is wrath. So this is the demon of wrath. I don't know this name. I can't pronounce it right now, but I know this is the demon of wrath. And it's over happiness or peace, ? A psychopath's happy rings a little bit different than a psychopath at peace. A psychopath happy rings a little bit different than a psychopath at peace. Think about that. Like, a happy psychopath versus a psychopath at peace under the demon of wrath. What is that conveying? Because what I'm perceiving is I'm getting a lot of vision, so we got to keep it slow and steady here. Because we are at a door. This is the year of the horse. This is the Knight of Wands. This is a lizard being on top of a horse in the desert. And there's portals all over the planet. There's stargates. We are being told things like what's going on the surface, but really they're trying to get inside. It's important to be armored right now, spiritually. And that's a whole process, which I'm not going to get into right now. Because there's more to this, like you need to like process what we're talking about. This isn't entertainment. This is, you're surviving something existential, and you need to be clear on what's going on. Not just what you feel, not just what you want to be, we're not gonna do that. We're gonna be smart, and we're gonna think about this, because Constantine came out with AI, okay? And this movie, if you haven't seen it, if you have, you're good job, A+ to you. AI, I used that, I had to put images over that audio because they didn't have images, and it just is what it is. I just tried to put some images that match what I was seeing over the audio in that video, because the AI part, people aren't realizing the deception is for your soul, and the Six of Swords being in reverse, it's saying, the Six of Swords in the upright would represent you leaving troubled waters to something calmer. But in reverse, it's saying people are moving a bit slow to leave the troubled waters. There's a troubled land that we're chaotically, I'm just going to call it for the context, Sodom and Gomorrah. People are struggling to leave Sodom and Gomorrah for the Garden of Eden because we ate the apple, and we're so convinced that the apple is what we want. That's why it's bittersweet. So I was shown visions of the beautiful ones, and I saw this great battle. I saw us, and again, this is crazy. We're in this human body today, but what were we before? What's going on? There's a whole evolution of DNA memory that I have here. I don't know if it was this body or something of my ancestors, or just a pure memory. So we code our memory DNA, it codes itself for survival so we can survive. And we're in a time where this memory is looping back around, and it takes the mind of a young mind, like the version of you when you were somewhere between 12 and 20. And if you're there, you know what I'm talking about, where you're still open, but you're not quite convinced of anything really. You can adapt, you're excited, you're romantic, you have passion, you're all up in the orange, which is funny, we're in the orange. I see orange desert on my screensaver over there. It's just like all this orange red sand energy with the red and orange colors here. We're talking about the desert. Like, look, it's like orange, red going on. And what we're dealing with, because I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm way down the rabbit hole. I'm so deep into it that I could sit here and try to explain everything, but I'm trying to get you to prepare your temple, because I see a farm. I see a farm, and I see what we do to cattle when we want to feed a large population. We beef them up, right? We feed them more. We fatten up the chickens. We fatten up the pigs so we can harvest. And when I look at America, or I look at the world at this time, we have found ways to use pharmakia, to use sorcery, to use magic, to use manipulation, I'm not gonna do the not, I gotta tell them, hold up. We have used pharmakia and sorcery to get the things that'll fatten people up so they're too dense to be limber in a time where we might need to be in our greatest strength. Is the best way I'm gonna try to frame that, because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I also don't want to soften something that needs to be straightforward and blunt. Because what I see happening is we've been digging into the earth. We have been fighting over territory. We have been causing genocide all over the planet for generations and generations. If they want something, they go and take out the people and they take it over. Doesn't matter who, they do it. We know who they are. They're not us. I'm not doing it. But what they do is they go and they say, I want that because that's where I think an entrance is. That's where I think I can get access. The dark wants access to inside, because inside where I see the beautiful ones, because we're separated by waters. This is crazy. It's so layered. It's so expansive. You have to spend your time in the research, but we're separated by the waters. They're considered, outer space is considered water. The air is considered water. There's water on the earth. There's water there's all these layers of waters that we're separated by, which is like dimensional shifts, the dimensional layers. And we have to know how to navigate these waters, because we're dealing with the prince of the power of the air. And the prince of the power of the air knows how to use this kind of stuff in ways that deceive, because for whatever reason we ate the apple. I don't know what the apple fully means in the beginning time. Besides, an apple is, we originally get an apple from a seed. And to me, if we're in a Garden of Eden, we're in this place where I see all types of magical beings, wherever unicorns are, I think unicorns are in the Garden of Eden. And all the things that we would prefer, because what is this life? This life is black and white and boring, and I feel like a slave. And I feel like they took away the chains so we would believe that physical slavery isn't real. But now it's like a mental slavery. And to me, we were in this place, this memory I have before, where in the garden, we had access to heaven, what we would consider to be heaven. And for whatever reason, the seed, I don't know how the serpent deceived or beguiled. What is the woman predator? This is fascinating. I want, that's the only part on this table that I'm like, woman predator? We have drugs, and do not forget, because this was on top, super soldiers. This has been a trail I have been following. I recommend you watch my Antarctica videos, because that will explain that. So we have the Fool in reverse. I had the Fool 2.0 in the last reading, and now I have the Fool, the original Fool in reverse, because with the Six of Swords in reverse, it's also saying that same message of being held back, because the unknown, the dark, what's lurking in the dark is there's different darkness. There's the unknown, the faith that you have to have, the faith of a mustard seed, you know, and the divine and the angels that protect us. And there's also the dark, which is like the shadows, where the darkness hides and lurks, which could be like the shape-shifting, the predators around that we are oblivious to. We've just put in so much faith in what we see, too much faith in what we see, and not what we know through wisdom and experience, which is why we're in this time where everyone's like, what's going on? I thought things were fine, because when I remember in the year 2020, my eyes, I was like, this is perfect vision. Everyone can see it now. I was already in it. I was in the conspiracy. And I was like excited. Everyone was like, I wanted to go back. I want the nostalgia. I want to go back to sleep. And I'm like, no, you don't. You really don't. Because when you were asleep and you just wanted to small talk about sports and the weather, you were so unaware. And it's not good to be asleep when dark things are happening. And now everyone's getting the sight. They're like, and it's all coming at once. So I know it feels heavy and it feels dark. But it's important. If you've made it to this point, please like the video. Help me circulate this content. It feels heavy. It feels intense. But you're discovering the truth. And the truth is not pretty. It's not always beautiful. We are going to experience something more than this. You get what I'm saying? It's gonna be intense. And I have to be thoughtful of my word choices here. But I am at the age where I avoid argument. If you tell me an elephant can fly, you are absolutely right. Because I'm not here to create arguments. I'm not here to argue with you. I'm not here to debate. I'm here to share with you wisdom that I've grown to understand through my own personal research. And it's literally your duty to decide if does this resonate with me? Does this make any sense? Can I go research? Can I do my own investigation? What does because the kingdom is within. Heaven, you have to seek within. And I fought and I fought and I fought. I had my own time of arrogance. I had my own time of ego. You know, I had to let my ego die. I had to really figure this out. And I want to ask something really quick while it's on my head. I want to know about what's this woman predator? If you don't know about Constantine, you should look that up too. You should look it up. It's a movie. You should actually watch the movie. I just saw it for the first time like last year. But it accurately describes, you know, it starts off with these sisters. One of them was a mental patient because she saw the spirit world. And she was trying to tell her sister, who was not a mental patient, who was like a detective or something, to run because there was stuff going on. And in the movie, it's like she had to learn. The mental patient sister lost her mind, and a lot of things ended up being revealed. All the archangels and those that were working for Satan and those that were working for God. And it's so funny that, you know, everything's disguised behind worshiping God. I thought about that with the illumination stuff, like you know, how it's designed in a nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We say that. We say God. We, you know, I used to be like, I'm so sick of people pushing their religion on me. Like, I hated that. And I'm not a fan of religion, quite honestly. A legion of people that exclude others. But what I'm certainly okay with or understanding of or studied in is good versus evil. There's definitely a distinguishing difference between good and evil, purity and corruption. And when you really break it down, it's not hard to see. There's a spirit in everything. Drugs was over here because there's spirits behind. The pharmakia, for example, it was introduced heavily, especially in modern world, after World War II, because they wanted to drug people up. And they wanted, and we know the CIA and it was all infiltrated. It was intentional to keep us unawake, sleep, fat and dumb. What about this woman predator? Underground. Underground. Please watch my previous videos. Underground. There's stuff going on underground. And I'm not making this up. This is, go research it. I'm level-headed. And there's stuff going on underground that a woman predator, I want another card. Oh my God. Interesting. Woman predator underground. What's that about? Ancestors. So I keep seeing our ancestors as these fairies, the giants, all types of creatures. And then I distinctively see this reptile as a foreigner, meaning I'm perceiving us humans, and you know, if we look pretty decently human and we are not evil and shape-shifting, we are descendants of humanity. Different types. There's different colors. You can be black, you can be white, you can be brown, blue eyes, brown eyes, different hair colors. Some have more intelligence than others, or whatever. We have hobbits. We have lots of different creatures. Beautiful ones. The beautiful ones. We're the beautiful ones because God created us. But there's a distinctive reptile, this serpent that lurks, that I'm not convinced is of the group. It feels like, and I heard back when, years ago, don't know who said it. They said the Pleiadians, I have it on one of my cards actually. The Pleiadians wanted the Reptilians to stop eating them. So they like did a pact or something. And I think there's a bunch of different species that we're so unaware of because we're in this limited place. We're so limited to confinement, to grids. Fear, right? It's a grid of fear. Out there, the unknown, the prairie, like if we just put so much faith and some outlandish basic history that has nothing to do with what's going on, because it makes us feel good. It makes us feel empowered that we're in control. I see a lot, anybody, just, it's almost easy to identify someone who is spiritually aligned and someone who's in delusional land. Usually the delusional people have an arrogance, or there's like a delulu there. You just kind of see it. You're just like, and it's like you have to have the discernment to distinguish people's agendas. Usually, and please don't take offense, because people are struggling with their bodies right now. We have been lied to and deceived, and a lot of people have different issues. I do not put any shame on anyone for your choices around your body. Please don't put me in that category. I'm just trying to convey something. Those in power, though, with the arrogance and the big round bellies, they're just kind of like laying back and they just know it all, and they just kind of have arrogance to them. Just kind of like, those fools, it's like fool's gold. It's what it feels like. When I see a warrior race of us, all, like I said, all different colors, doesn't matter, but I see us, we're more in our avatar self, more barefoot, and we made our own clothes. Yeah, we might stink. We don't have all these, because it's been told. We understand the fallen angels. They gave us all this, the perfumes, the soaps, the alcohol, getting you separated from your natural environment. You're supposed to be a little dirty. I'm sorry. I know everyone wants to be ultra clean and ultra sterilized, but it's actually, you're more aligned. Like let's just go to like an African culture or a South American rainforest culture. Those people aren't as, they're not constantly putting sanitizer all over their body for a reason. Dolphins don't use hand sanitizer. You know what I'm saying? What's going on? Why are we so sanitized? Why are we so conditioned to be scrubbed down and sterilized? Because if we were connected to our environment, it would talk to us, it would speak to us. The earth breathes. The air sings, there's whistles, there's sounds, there's flow. The water, if you listen, if you go into the woods and you listen, there's sounds everywhere. It's like a living and breathing organism. And we're so disconnected. Our ancestors weren't, but we're so sanitized at this point that we're not understanding what we're we can't hear our instincts. That's really important. Atom came out, like the atom in our body, the scientific atom, which is literally the name of the first, what we call the first human. It's crazy how this all lines up, right? Funny I said indivisible, because in etymology it's Greek. Atoms is indivisible. And what did I say? Indivisible and justice for all. To the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible. Indivisible. If you know anything about that, please put it in the comments. I'm gonna have to look into that, because that just piqued my interest. Because again, I don't know everything. I don't know what's going on. Do you hear me? I'm asking questions. I am an observer, and we are on an investigation. And I'm not here to rush. Oh, slave, and the shadow came out. Giving your willpower to an external authority out of fear of making your own choices. What else? Okay, athlete at the bottom, which is showing me what I was trying to say about being fit and being healthy. We need to get off these medications. If you can, I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you what to do. I can't give medical advice. I'm a regular person, live a regular life, doing regular things. I'm a simpleton. I'm out here asking questions. But it is being shown to me that the more dependent that you are on things, the less likely you are to have a functioning system, a temple. Your body is a temple. And it's important for you to strengthen it as best as you can. Do what you can, right? Nobody can be perfect. Nobody's asking you, but it just takes the faith of a mustard seed. I have healed things naturally. I didn't go to the doctor. I figured it out. Okay? I had a ball in my finger, like a lump, and it was there for a long time. And then I wrote my book. No more lump. Things like that. I mean, there's so many different things that you can do that you just would never think about. Thyroid, hormones, there's so much. It's all about your system being balanced. Okay, we have goddess in the upright, the feminine expressed through wisdom, nature, life force, and sensuality. They're both leaning. And then I had detective, but it was in the shadow. Voyeurism, falsifying information. I'm going to show you in the upright though, so you can just read it or see it. Yeah, that's like the trap that I was seeing. Slave, goddess, and detective. Slave, goddess, woman, predator. I actually want another. Can I get one more on that woman predator, please? Underground. Oh, woman predator. I usually would perceive that to be a predator that is a woman. But in this reading, it's coming out as a predator of women. The fallen angels saw the daughters of men, and they took of them. Then they bred with them and created their offspring. And then that's the cult, that's the bloodline trying to keep their bloodline alive. King, look, ruler, king, clarifying that. Trying to rule. We have goddess, we have king, woman predator, what's at the bottom? Pioneer. Passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. So I can keep digging, but I don't think that's important. So I hope you got something in this message. I'm gonna keep investigating, and I really would love your feedback. If you could comment something down below, like this video, and check out my about section or the description if you want to watch the full video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.